The door opened. Last night, my husband and I were in bed. He was fast asleep, and I was still awake, scrolling on my phone. I heard a loud thump, and instantly got a bad feeling. I tried to wake up my husband, but he just said, "I locked the doors, something probably fell," and went back to sleep. I thought, okay, whatever, and got up to use the bathroom and lock our bedroom door, because I'm paranoid. While trying to fall asleep, every time I was almost asleep, something would jerk me awake. Not physically jerk me, but I would jump and have a feeling something was there. At one point, I thought I heard a woman whisper, but brushed it off, as me just half asleep. The next morning I woke up and my husband had already left for work. I have a baby, so I got him out of the bassinet beside the bed, fed him, and then he went back to sleep. I got up and made some breakfast. When I went in the living room, I saw my handbag had fallen off the couch in a weird position. There's no way it could have fallen on its own that way. Plus, it had been on the couch for hours after I came home, and I never touched it again. I don't know why it fell. I left the door cracked open to my bedroom so my dog could wander around while I ate my breakfast. When I went into the living room, I saw my bag that I'd left on the couch had fallen and was in a weird position. There is no way it could have fallen on its own that way. Plus, it had been on the couch for hours after I'd come home, and I'd never touched it again, so I don't know why it fell. I left the door cracked open to my bedroom so my dog could wander around while I ate. And while I was sitting up in bed, facing the bedroom door, it pushes open. My stomach drops. I have a terrible feeling of dread. I'm going over logical reasons in my head how this could have happened. First, I look for my dog. He's asleep on his back next to me. I look at the fans. They're all off. I listen for the heat and the air. It's not running. I'm freaking out, calling my husband, and I look over at my baby, and he's woken up for no reason. Like whatever it was had startled him too. Maybe this was just all a coincidence, but the feeling of dread that came over me both times is concerning. I'm putting a camera in the living room tonight to see if I catch anything. Hopefully I don't. The Texting Ghost. Our family own an old croft cottage in the Scottish Highlands, which we frequently visit now that its last occupant, my great step-grandmother, has died, leaving it to us in her will. Before she lived there, my mother often visited her real grandmother there over the summer holidays as a child. She was close to her grandmother, who used to come into her bedroom very late at night to check she was okay. My mother and I visited the cottage together about 3 years ago, and on the first morning she said she'd heard footfalls coming up to her bed during the night. She was sure it was Granny, doing what she always did, checking she was okay. She felt nothing but comfort at this, not fear. Later on, I stayed there with a group of college friends while studying for our exams. One of the girls, who was sharing the room where Granny used to sleep, asked the girl she was sharing with why she'd been up looking out of the window in the middle of the night. The girl had no idea what she was talking about. Now, both of these events can be explained rationally. My mother may just have been dreaming or remembering about her Granny coming to visit her as she always did, and my college friend may have been sleepwalking. But the weirdest thing that has happened there to date is this. Last time I was at the cottage, I sent a text message to my mother to tell her I'd arrived. I got a message back saying, "Have a wonderful weekend, lots of love mum, kiss kiss kiss, and granny too, kiss." I was perplexed by this, as my grandmother is dead. I sent a message back asking why she'd written that and got no reply. Assuming that the reception was bad, I thought no more of it. When I got back home, my mother told me she'd not written "and granny too, kiss" in the text, and the hairs on the back of her neck had stood on end when she received my second text. I think it was just Granny making sure her presence was finally felt, in the nicest possible way. The girl in the mirror. When I was a teenager, I loved staying up late during vacations, dancing in my room all night. In my room, there was a tall mirror that stood on the floor. One night, as usual, I was dancing away when my eyes landed on a new little digital camera. At that time, phones weren't as advanced as they are now, and the quality of photos wasn't great either. The camera was pink, and my sister had bought it. I don't know why, but in that moment, an idea came to me. I wanted to take a selfie, but one that would show my whole body. So I placed the mirror on my bed, so it was a bit higher, and stood in front of it. I grabbed the camera, pointed it to the mirror, and clicked to take the photo. When I looked at the picture, I froze. For a moment, I was in complete shock. There I was in the picture, but there was something else. When I looked just near my head, I saw a girl. She was looking over my shoulder, staring at me through the mirror. She had a pale, almost white face, with long black hair and black eyes. It wasn't just a reflection or something weird in the lighting. It was her. She was in the photo with me, just as I was there too. I was so scared that I instantly deleted the picture, as if doing so would make her presence disappear. I ran out of my room and down to the living room. It was about 3 a.m. and everyone was asleep. I couldn't bring myself to wake anyone up. I had already deleted the photo, and I regretted it immediately, because now I had no evidence to show when I would tell my story. I sat in the living room for about 20 minutes, trying to calm myself down, before finally heading back upstairs to my bed. I never saw that girl again, but there were moments after that when I felt a strange presence. The creepy part is that later, when I told my mum what had happened, she told me something unsettling. Apparently, the previous owner of the house had a daughter who had taken her own life. We'd been living in that house for almost 3 years at this point. All that happened when I was 16 years old. I'm now 35, and still, when I think about it, I get chills down my spine.